Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Illegal Pancakes podcast, where we are finally going to review Doom Eternal in its entirety because me and Connor have finally beaten the game on ultraviolence, 90-something% secrets unlocked. And with us today, we have a very special guest. We have the Illegal Pancakes superfan, Greg. Say hello, Greg.
Oh, hey, everybody.
Oh, it is such an honor for you to be on our show right now. This is just a great experience for you. I'm so happy for me.
Dream
So,
come true.
yep. So before we start trashing this game, which is a horrible game, the first thing I think we should mention is that this game is really, really good. Uh, I think we can all agree with that. That this is probably going to be our game of the year for this year and probably next year. But you have to keep in mind we are huge Doom shills. So, what did you expect? So, I think the first thing we're going to talk about is what was our favorite level. And I guess I will go first. I think my favorite level was probably Arc Base. It's either that or Gore Nest, Super Gore Nest. Just because I think it's at that point in the game where that's like when you have most of the upgrades, you have enough upgrades. And also, the music is just really freaking good on that level. You're just going around killing everyone. There's a couple moments I don't like, but overall, it's a fast-paced level with cool visuals, and you get a fun boss fight at the end. I'm expecting someone here to disagree with me, but I guess not.
I was speechless at that point. Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. My favorite level, I really enjoyed those two. I was a big fan of the Hell on Earth, like aesthetic, actually being on Earth. It was cool to see that in a game that wasn't made in 1994, finally. Um,
Honestly, some of the visuals, specifically on the first level, which I think is just called Hell on Earth, they kind of reminded me of some of the concept art from the canceled Doom 4 game.
yeah, I think they drew on that a lot. In fact, I'm sure they even reused some assets because I know a lot of 2016. Um, Quite a few of those assets were reused from that canceled Doom 4 project. So it
That's
wouldn't
very cool.
surprise me if some of the city layouts were taken from it too. My favorite level might have been Terrace Nabad, actually. Um,
Not a bad level.
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good one.
that's one of the ones where the game has taught you the mastery of the mechanics, and then it starts really ramping up the difficulties. So you fight Archviles for the first time, Marauders start showing up as regular enemies, and they really got on my nerves at first, but as it went on, and I actually learned how to fight them, they became much more enjoyable. You get the Crucible. Uh, there
I
was
did
some
not
interesting.
end up using the Crucible as much as I thought I was going to.
I used it on Archviles, and that was about it.
Yeah, I say Archviles and Barons if they were pissing me off.
Oh
And
no,
then
I love.
occasionally on the Cyber Mancubus or Prowler, but that's just because those two really annoyed me.
Oh, Baron's probably my favorite enemy still. I loved him in 16, and I loved him in this one.
Yeah. Terrace Nabard. It's fun to say.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll go last. So for me, it would probably have to be Super Gornest as well. Maybe a close second is either Urdak or Terrace Nabad. But Super Gornest, and besides the stuff that Robbie mentioned, I really liked the Slayer Gate on that level. I think that was like the best of all of them. It was like
Wh-
really super challenging, but
Which one
seemingly
was that?
fair. That was the one where they threw in the Tyrants first.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
Yeah, like the
that was
three of
my
them.
favorite as well.
Yeah.
Most of
And
the Slayer gates I played very early in the morning, and I don't remember them very well.
yeah, a lot of them like blend together because they use the same maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Aside from that, like I really like the aesthetic of it. It seems like uh, like how to properly do a Shores of Hell type level. You know, like Hell's like infected a human like building or whatnot, or
Yeah.
like populated area. Even though this is based on like Doom 2 and stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, like I really like that, like going into the gore nest itself.
What I loved about that level is that they had some like just massive arenas, and at that point you have the chain, so you're just able just to fly around. The only problem with the huge arenas is I found there's a lot of times some of the enemies would just forget that I was on the game. They would just go into their dormant form, and I could just snipe them.
Yeah.
Like all the Mancubus, if you think any of those Mancubus had their full cannons by the time I fought them, you're wrong.
I think
Yeah.
they did that intentionally though, because it's such a big area that if you had all those enemies firing at you at all times, it would have turned into a crapshoot really quick.
Nah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Was I
I
the only
guess
one that when I started it, I was like, "Hey, this is the level from QuakeCon. I saw this like 2 years ago."
Yep. Was I the only one who
yeah.
revisited the QuakeCon footage and saw you had 60 shells and got pissed off?
Oh, are you kidding?
What?
Oh, what?
Oh.
That is so. What? Oh, jeez.
That is messed up.
So apparently the low ammo counts were like a late minute addition. Um, there was they could like they had the formula and it wasn't clicking and they couldn't figure out why, and so they cut all the ammo counts, so you had to use your chainsaw, and that happened in between all the QuakeCon footage we saw and then us actually getting the game.
So that's what the delay was about. Was they wanted to take away the ammo?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Why do I feel like John Romero was behind that?
Yeah. But no, kind of continuing. I guess I'll talk about Urdak a bit. As my second favorite. I really liked the how creepy that level was. Like it looked nothing like it did in the like preview footage. Like it was
Urdak-
like dark.
Yeah.
Like don't you remember like the early pictures of it being like all bright and like heaven like? But this looks
Yeah,
like
in gray.
weird like space
Yeah, it
nebula.
reminded me a lot of High Charity from Halo 2.
That's what I was gonna say. It felt like a level from a Halo game, but at the same time, I'm okay with that, and not because I love Halo, but because it's something new and different in a Doom game. You know?
Well,
Yeah,
I kind of felt that way about Terrace Nabad too, with like the ancient but kind of futuristic ruins and then the green like visual and stuff. It looked I didn't clue into it till just now, but it looked very Halo-esque to me. And once again, it's something we hadn't really seen. We're not used to fighting demons in bright, sunny places.
I suppose
Yeah.
that's true. I'd say the aesthetics, though. I mean, you kind of see that in the classic Doom games, a lot of like mossy bricks and stuff. So I wouldn't say it's
That's true,
totally new.
especially
You never,
Plutonia.
yeah.
then given like
Urdak
all the
though was just a totally new. I've never seen any. I haven't even seen any mods that look like that.
yeah. Then the soundtrack too was pretty interesting, like a very Hodges-esque ambient type horror thing.
That weird
Where it's-
baby song it plays before you
Yeah.
fight the con maker. Ooh, nightmare fuel.
Thought that was playing the whole time.
Maybe it was, and I didn't notice. I just remembered it because I was going back and getting all the lives and items that I missed, and it was
Okay.
playing that the whole time.
This is kind of an aside, but there's that part where there's the giant purple pool
Yeah,
with the body in it.
yeah, that.
I'm thinking that's setting up for a sequel, and I'm not sure how, but I have no other explanation for why that's there.
You know,
like-
if you
I
play the
thought-
game with subtitles on, when you kill the con maker,
Yeah,
there's a mysterious voice. That's what it's labeled as. That screams no.
Yeah. So they're
So
definitely setting up for something more there.
yeah. Like I thought that might have been like some sort of like, because they say like the con maker, like a new con maker gets born, like after, the last one like voluntarily like gives up its position or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So maybe that's like where they come from or whatnot. There are like people online saying that might be the body of the father.
What is that whole father thing? Because when you plug in Vega,
He decides
like-
he's God, and I love it.
There, I don't know, like just what I've read from the wiki, like the father was like more like the, I guess like the, what am I trying to say? I guess like in a sense a like holy spirit, but like an AI. You catch my
Okay.
drift? So yeah, there's
Yeah.
like a theory going around that um, um
That Vega actually is the father.
yeah, and that like Hayden, who might also be the Seraphim, like just unplugged him from Urdak and took him with him.
That makes a lot of sense because it's definitely when you see uh, the Slayer get his superpower stuff, that's definitely Sam Hayden's voice. So
Yeah, it's the same voice actor.
yeah,
Huh. Interesting.
and
All
then they
right.
say that his body's all alien too. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
cool.
Yep. So let's talk about our least favorite levels. I might have to think a bit about what
Do we
mine
want
is,
to
but
exclude Sentinel Prime from this because it's really more of a boss fight than a level?
Boss fight and heavy-handed narration.
Yeah, because there's no fighting on that level besides the boss fight. It's just walking down a long hallway and picking up pages of a book.
I mean, I don't feel the need to exclude it because it wasn't
no.
my least favorite level.
Oh, okay.
But it sounds like it was yours.
Yeah, it was probably mine. And it just kind of gets it just because it is such a simple level and it's kind of a mediocre boss fight. But if I had to pick one that wasn't that, it would probably be uh maybe Terrace Nabad too, just because it felt very forgettable to me.
Terrace
Not
Nabad
not Terrace
2.
Nabad 2, Necroval
Necroval.
Part 2. Necroval, my bad. Uh it's just a continuation of Necroval Part 1. It didn't seem like a very long level, and that's kind of at the point of the game where you've already upgraded your Slayer to the full point, so the game isn't really throwing anything new at you at that point. It's just kind of the same as old stuff. So,
That makes sense. I actually really enjoyed Necroval Part 2. I thought it was better than Part 1. But my least favorite level is without a doubt Exultia. That
that's a
was,
that's a close one for me as well.
I mean, I went back and replayed it upgraded, and it was a lot more fun that time, but that was the portion of the game where it was just pissing me off. Like, I remember being in that room with the electric water, being chased down by like two Hell Knights, and I was just cursing everybody's mother. And then the end of the level, you have that stupid platforming bit with the Mario flame chains, and you have to like jump onto the platforms that fall down, and then immediately jump off it to the next one. But you don't even know where the next one is, so you jump into the lava like 6 times. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, "Why did I buy this game? I hate everything."
Yeah, for me it was that last like battle arena at the end that
Yeah,
kept
when
on
you get to
getting
that
me.
tiny island, and it's like, what, am I supposed to move around or not? Because there's no room to move around, you piece of crap.
Yeah,
I
and I
think
was
that
real.
level kind of brings up what might be, I think, the game's biggest problem, but I'm also not sure how I feel about this yet.
Yeah, we'll
Is
talk
that
about. The,
yeah? I guess we can talk about that later. But the difficulty, the game seems harder at the beginning than it does at the end. But we can talk about that later.
okay, so yeah, kind of going off of Greg's least favorite level, I would say maybe for me, from a not having enough of like upgrades and stuff side of things, is a cultist base. So that's where
Cultist
shit real
base was a
yeah,
pain.
that's where the shit really starts to hit the fan, especially with the faster enemies like the whiplashes being thrown in that pit, the flaming pit. Holy crap.
Yeah,
It gets better after you get the super shotgun though.
Yeah,
it
Like
because you
just
does.
got like
having that.
3 shots in it at
Oh
that
yeah,
point.
only three,
Oh,
but like
jeez.
I don't know. Like that would be my pick. I don't think like I had a level that I like really hated.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was nothing in here that like I really hated, but
Well, yeah, like I said, I replayed Exultia, and it was great. And the problem was
Yeah.
100% the player, not the game. But
Yeah. And just
doesn't
where
matter.
you
It's burned in my brain as like the most frustrating experience I've ever had.
yeah. You haven't
I
played it on
learned
ultra.
I learned playing Exulta that when you fall off a bottomless pit, you don't die right away. Because I did it about 100 times. And after I completed, because the first gore nest you do on that level is like two Caco demons, and I shot grenades into both of their mouths and jumped on one, glory killed it, jumped on the other, glory killed it. I was like, yes, I completed it. And I was like, oh no, I'm falling to my death.
It'll still give it to you, I think.
Yeah, it still did. Because I just respawned next to it, but
one good improvement from 2016. Falling into pits does not make you have to reload or start from a checkpoint.
Now that I've beaten the game, what was the point of the gore nest in there? Because they were all optional.
Yeah.
I completed all of them, I think. I just thought I was going to get some kind of reward or a handshake or something.
It's just bonus weapon points.
Oh, bonus weapon points. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you get one for each one you complete.
Okay, that makes sense. The only thing I didn't like about those was there'd be sometimes I'd be in the middle of a glory kill, and I'd be like, "You ran out of time," and I'm like,
"Yeah,
no, he was dead." Just
yeah, it doesn't slow the time down when you're in the weapon wheel either.
Yeah,
there's no way to actually get that timer to stop. You just got to do it. It's kind of annoying.
I mainly used the Unmaker for the hidden encounters, just whipping it out and just.
Oh yeah, by the time I had the BFG, that's how I did all of them.
Yeah.
Rip that purple button out, and you turn around and you fire the BFG, and you're like, okay, I'm done.
Okay. So we're our least favorite levels. What next?
No, do you want to talk about the story? What's the story, Wishbone? Okay, what was the story? Because half of it was this really deep lore, but I'm pretty sure the story was just aliens and demons are attacking Earth. You have to stop them. The end.
It teased it a lot more than it ever gave us.
Yeah.
It throws you in the thick of this, and it's like, wait, okay, now Samuel Hayden is a good guy, and he led this resistance, and you have a fortress in outer space, and
you can no longer hold ammo.
The leader of the UAC is a hell priest that used to be a not hell priest. I don't. Yeah, there's a ton that happened in between the two games, and you're just like, maybe I'm supposed to read the codexes. That's probably it. But I don't buy video games to read.
I tried. I was like, I'm just gonna sit down and read all of these. That's what I said after I beat the Icon of Sin. I was like, nah, these are boring and weird. I don't like this.
Yeah. It's just... The story's kind of dumb. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
It's they had 4 people write this, including Hugo Martin, and no disrespect to him, but holy crap. They talked it up way much more than they needed to.
Yeah.
They could have just said, hey, we're going to try to have a narrative to this, and we're kind of, taking a page out of the Carmack approach where it's not going to really matter much, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to appease the people who don't want Doom to have a plot and the people who are really into lore.
And I think they did an okay job striking that line, quite frankly. The story's not really up in your face except that one level where it's only story, Sentinel Prime or whatever. And I don't think the story that they gave us is bad from a little bit of it I understood. It's definitely weird, but I like the fact that they tied it in with the original games. Just because that was a big fan theory and they did it.
Even though it doesn't entirely make too much sense.
Yeah, I mean, if it follows up well enough. Doom 64 ends with you staying in hell forever to stop demons from invading, and then they find you in hell. Kind of.
Yeah. I guess. I just mean from the sense that Earth got invaded twice by hell, and they didn't seem to learn anything from it the second time.
Oh, I think the idea is that you left. You're in an alternate timeline dimension thing now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
And I think this one takes place in the same universe as Doom 3, because I think all of the dates that are happening in the last game are the same dates as the ones in Doom 3.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think it's supposed to be that those are occurring simultaneously.
Mm. Yeah, I've seen people saying that the next one they need to have a co-op feature or something where it's the Doomslayer, and then Crash and Phobos from Quake Legends or whatever it's called. Quake something. Quake Champions?
Quake 3.
Quake 3, okay. And then like the Doom 3 guy, and like you're all in the same dimension together, kicking demon butt.
That'd be neat.
Yeah, that'd be really neat.
Somebody
I'm trying
made
to
concept
imagine
art.
how big of a processor you need to have 4 times the amount of demons on the screen. But
Oh man. Somebody made concept art of Crash as a Night Sentinel, and it was pretty cool. But
that is cool. You know what
apparently
wasn't
I've reached the
cool?
point in my life where I know that, so that's less cool.
You know what wasn't cool? How half the tracks you found in the game were from Quake 2.
Yeah, what was up with that?
I mean,
And
no,
it-
no, I don't want to like disrespect the Quake 2 soundtrack, but there was only like 2 classic Doom songs you could find.
And I don't know if you guys had this experience. For me, on the Doom Fortress or whatever it's called, Fortress of Doom, if I played any of the MIDI tracks from the original games, I couldn't hear them.
Yeah, they're like really, really quiet.
Yeah, really quiet.
Yeah, the Doom 3 theme was loud and clear, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a lot of fun to turn that on and go to the Repertorium.
The Quake 3 theme was a lot of fun as well.
But like the Doom 64 theme by Aubrey Hodges, I think is his best composition, and you can't hear that one at all. Couldn't hear it in Sandy City, can't hear it at Doom's Gate.
Can't hear the Wolfenstein song.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
never tried the Wolfenstein song because they don't mean anything to me.
Dun, 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 dun. You know that song.
That didn't sound familiar, but I guess I've never heard the Wolfenstein soundtrack in a cappella before. I don't know, it's been 7 years since I played Wolfenstein. 8 years, which is probably more recent than most, but whatever.
Well, it's the same song that plays on the Wolfenstein levels in Doom 2, and I know you've played that recently.
Not those levels. I hate those levels.
Everybody does. All right, so we want to talk about the boss fights now.
Sure.
Actually, no. There's one more thing I do want to bring up because this is a bit on the controversial side. This game portrays the demons as more like aliens than the Christian demons from hell. Does
Uh-huh.
that upset you guys at all?
Quite frankly, that's how I've always understood them. Is that hell isn't the Christian version of hell so much as it is an alternate dimension of just of hell, basically.
Yeah, I say
And
in 2016 they call it the hell dimension all the time, so I figured they were already leaning into that.
yeah, and I've kind of always taken it to be that way. Actually, I was surprised by the fact that it was more religious than I would have expected, with like the talk of the Dark Lord and stuff. There clearly is some kind of Satan going on here, but they don't go into that too much.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I've always thought of hell as like a separate dimension. But like, I guess it's kind of intriguing that the demons are actually humans that have had their souls extracted from them and like have sort of like mutated or whatnot. Because that was one of the things described in the Codex logs.
Yeah, I suppose that.
Oh, is that
was
where
a-
that was? Because I heard
Yeah.
that and I never caught it in game.
Yeah, it's in one of the Necroval logs.
Gotcha. See, I think that's kind of cheesy, personally,
Yeah,
but I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Doom's always been cheesy.
Mhm. What do you think about the demon spaceships? Did you see any of those?
I mean, you start in one.
That's not a spaceship. That's a hell barge.
Okay.
A hell barge is just a cathedral on the back of a Titan.
Oh,
Some
you're on the
levels-
back of the Titan?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I ain't clue into that.
Yeah, you can see it walking away after you jump off of it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
I saw the
I
Titan
liked how the
walking away. I
Titans
just
weren't
thought he
like
was just...
evil. Like you just like set it free pretty much, and he's just like, all right.
Actually, my biggest disappointment in the game was I didn't get to fight any. The whole game, they're teasing you with these mechs and these Titans, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. And you don't do it.
You do fight one, which I think is a good segue into our next section, which is the boss fights. You get to
You
fight
mean the icon?
Yeah, the icon of sin.
Yeah.
So the first question is, how does this boss fight compare to the original Doom 2 icon of sin boss fight?
It is much more involved, to say the least.
You know, I'm going to say something that's probably going to disappoint all our listeners. I watched the Icon of Sin boss fight on YouTube like the weekend the game came out because I wasn't expecting to have access to it for a while, and so I wanted to see how it went. And I was like, oh, it's still just shooting at a wall because the actual combat's all happening around you, and he's just kind of in the background and occasionally punches it and stuff. And I'm like, that's disappointing. I would have liked to actually fight him. But then actually playing it this weekend and fighting him, you fight him. Like, it didn't feel at all like it kind of looked to me in the video where he's just in the background. It felt like an actual combat situation, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like you shoot him in the hand, he gets pissed off and punches you. And
Shooting
if
him in
you're
the hand was the worst part. I got him down to like when you have to destroy his 8 body parts or whatever. I got him down to just one of his wrists, and it was like his right wrist, and he would never show it ever.
Yeah.
Constantly just out of sight.
Did you ever have the glitch where he punches you and you like get pinched between a wall and it just makes you flying forever?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, that happened to me once.
I got knocked off of the like skyscraper or whatever you're on, like in the first phase, like a couple times from that.
hmm
Just because, like, even if you're like not, you can be like a couple like feet away from it, like visibly miss it, it'll still like make you like push it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one time I was fighting like 4 demons at once, and he must have punched me because all of us went flying in different directions, and everything was on fire, and then they were all dead, and I'm like, what just happened?
See, something like that happened to me where I was running around and I saw like it was like a lot more enemies than I think there should have been. I saw like 20 demons, and then they all just jibbed randomly, and then the game crashed.
He kills them.
He kills
At
them.
some
Okay.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I wasn't quite sure why, but he would kill them during the fight at different points.
I don't know if the gladiator would kill him because he was pissing me off because he was killing all my ammo.
I don't think the gladiator managed to kill anything when I fought him. That was the most underwhelming boss fight of my life.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be any arguments here. If we're ranking the full bosses, not mini bosses, the gladiator's at the bottom, then Conmaker, and then Icon of Sin for the most fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hated
Yeah.
that Con Maker fight though too.
I thought it was the easiest.
Yeah, I shouldn't admit this. These guys beat it on Ultra Violence. I beat it on Hurt Me Plenty. It took me 2 hours to fight her. Oh,
But you were playing with the controller, and that whole boss fight was very much based around
Hey,
how fast and accurate you can
yeah,
be
Connor
shooting.
was fighting her with
hey,
a
I played it on
controller,
the
too.
controller. You don't need to worry about aiming. You just need the lock-on
Yeah,
rockets.
so I used the lock-on. Yeah, I used the lock-on rockets.
Then
So
like
when I
one.
first started the fight, I was trying to figure out the best way to do it. I was testing each weapon, and my roommate looked up a video, and he's like, "This guy's saying use the ballista," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." That was the next one I was going to try, and so I used the ballista the entire fight. Didn't even think of the lock-on rockets, and so the ballista, and then the heavy cannon did a surprising amount of damage to her shield. Um, my issue with the fight was her stupid damaging floors, like.
Yeah.
She would make half the level so you couldn't land there, and then I had all those stupid maker drones following me around, so I'd like try to hide behind cover, and then her attacks, I don't know, it felt really cover based to me. When the whole rest of the game was de-emphasizing cover based combat, this one was like, you need to hide behind that pillar, and you can't move anywhere because the floor's hurting you, and you just walk out and you shoot at her, and then she throws lasers at you, and you hide behind the pillar. Like, could have been in a Call of Duty game. It was so cover based at that point, but
I
apparently
think
I
it's been a
just
while since you've played Call of Duty, but the thing that
True.
pissed me off was she would cover the whole floor with the fire stuff, and then all of the maker drones would just be hanging out in the middle of it. Like, you want to headshot me? Go ahead. You're not going to pick up any health or ammo.
They would do that, and then she would too. Where,
What the frick was that?
I mean, I appreciated the warning,
Yeah.
but no, like there was several times that I got her shield down, and I only had to punch her like 1 or 2 more times. But she was hanging out on the far side of the map with everything being floor as lava between me and her. And so by the time I got over there, and I was dead. It was so frustrating. My roommates went to sleep at 3 in the morning. I finished the fight at 3:30, and like they went to bed, and then I, I only needed 1 more hit on her, and I ran over there, and the meat hook just wouldn't lock onto her for some reason, and I kept trying to get it to, and it wouldn't, and then I died, and I started yelling at the TV, and then I heard my roommate start laughing at the background.
Yeah. So yeah, like for me, I died. I think like I died a couple times. Like I had extra lives though, and I realized that I played the level again, and I realized you have to like, at least being on console, it's very useful to freeze the maker drones so they don't move around. It makes it a lot easier to headshot them.
I was
And you
doing
don't,
that, yeah.
yeah, and it doesn't even have to be like at the precision bolt to the head to like get the loot to come out of them. You can like the killing blow has to be a headshot, so it could be from
Oh,
anything.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
so I
that.
ended up, towards the end, I would just use the grapple hook and the super shotgun to get the headshots.
Yeah, you just have to turn it up a bit at the end to like hit them in
Mm-hmm.
the face.
Do it
Yeah,
Resident Evil style.
Yeah.
yeah, and then I didn't have any extra lives when I got there too, so that made it a little more difficult than it needed to be.
Yeah.
But
It's surprising. What did you guys think about the extra lives?
I like them. I wish there had been an option on whether or not to activate them.
That's what I was gonna say as well, because the majority of the extra lives for me were just wasted by going in guns blazing into a new arena just so I can like scout out what I'm up against. Because the way I would usually play on Ultraviolence is I would go into arena, let myself get killed like twice just so I knew who was in there, and then I would go out and then do it seriously and usually win.
Yeah. Well, for me, the problem that I had is the same problem I had if you fell off into like a pit in a battle arena. If you died to like a group of enemies around you, they would still be around you and they'd get a couple hits off as soon as you like spawn back in. So it's not like you're getting a full life back. I mean, like for the pit thing, it's much worse because you might have less health.
I don't remember which level. Oh, it was Necroval Part 1, the first place with a buff totem, where I lost like 4 lives in like 30 seconds for that exact reason, because I'd had a bunch of them saved up, and then a bunch of them killed me, and by the time the new life activated, more of them had surrounded me. And then like by the time I was able to actually get out of that like just group of enemies, I had lost 4 of my lives, and it was frustrating.
For me, the worst point was on Doom Hunter base when you're on top of that tower and there's electricity on one side and Caco demons on the other.
Uh-huh.
I had like 3 extra lives, and the Caco demon would just show up and just start chomping on me. And I actually found out if you exit to desktop after you lose a life and just restart the whole game, it'll give you back your lives. And so I just kept doing that until I beat that section.
Yeah, I did. About halfway through the campaign, I realized I could load from checkpoint to get my life back.
Really?
On the PC, you can't do that because I would try. But if you shut off the game and turn it back on, you would get it back.
Yeah, I didn't think I tried that on because I'm on console too, and that didn't work for me either.
Oh, maybe it didn't work and I just tricked myself.
Maybe.
Who knows?
But yeah, let's get back on the topic
That's true,
of bosses.
sorry.
So let's talk about I guess we agree that our least favorite one is the gladiator.
Yes.
I mean, for me personally, the fight is very, very slow.
The first half was ridiculously easy, where he's got the
yeah.
blinking shield. I love the fact that shield blinked. I was like, what is this? This is the most video game thing I've seen.
It looked like the Necronomicon from
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead, yeah. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it made me think of.
Remember back when I thought those were 2 separate enemies?
Yep.
Triceratops dog and
Yeah.
shield guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like I felt that fight was like really, really slow.
Yeah.
Like painfully so.
It mostly consisted, especially the first half, of just like walking to the side, and it didn't matter how fast you moved to the side because he followed you. And so, just so you didn't run into zombies and stuff, I'd walk as slow as possible to the side, and then he would drop his shield and you shoot him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found myself in the second half. I think I was getting killed more by the prowlers than I was by him. Also, the game crashed during that boss fight, so it gets another negative point.
That sucks. I had a couple extra lives at that point, so I think he technically killed me twice, but I never had to start the boss fight over.
The extra lives, that's why I brought it up, is those are like key for the boss fights.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care when I used one during an arena. When it was during a boss fight, I was like, oh, okay, this is what's up.
Yep.
Do we want to talk about the mini boss fights now?
Oh,
Might
yeah.
as well. Do we count the Tyrant in there?
Might as well.
Because I feel like he
Yeah.
needs some bagging on.
Yeah. So the first one was the Doom Hunter / Doom Hunters. Pretty fun boss fight, I think.
Yeah, like
The first one you fight feels harder than the second two you fight.
Oh yeah, like definitely. I died to that first one, but then came back, fought it, and then I beat the other two that you fight immediately afterwards, like on my first try.
Same. And
probably-
having replayed the level last night, I initially figured that first one just had more health or something. Kind of like the Doom 3 Hell Knights, where the first two you meet are way tougher than the rest. But playing through it again, he was just as easy as the other ones were. So I think it's just a question of figuring it out.
Yeah,
I imagine it was. I feel like he reminded me the most, like gameplay wise, of the classic Cyber Demon. He was just an enemy that moved around and shot rockets at you, and he had a bunch of health, which I liked. But he's pretty easy to fight. You just hit him with the ice bomb, blow up his glider, and then just chain onto him until he dies.
Yep.
Fun enemy
And-
to fight. I liked it.
Yeah, they were the one like that showed up in the arenas where it didn't bother me when he showed up. When they threw a Marauder at me, I was like, oh no. But the Doom Hunter was like, sweet, let's do this.
all right. So the Tyrants, you want to bag on them a bit, Greg?
Yeah, I mean they're fine. They're just super
Underwhelming.
underpowered. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was killed by one once the entire playthrough, and it was after, and like he wasn't the one to take my health down. He just landed the killing blow. It was one of those I got like mobbed by like 3 demons, and he just happened to shoot me while it was happening.
Yeah.
Oh.
The one thing for me, and as much as I like the Slayer Gate on Super Gore Nest, I don't know why they decided to like throw 3 of them in there so early before they get a proper introduction. Because it was like completely underwhelming when you're in Necroval, and then they throw the first one in that actually appears in an actual map, and it's like, oh, I fought like 5 or 6 of these already.
Yeah.
Well, part of that I think is the fact that the Slayer gates were optional.
Yeah.
I missed all of them on my first playthrough. Uh, but also, even without that introduction was still pretty underwhelming. You just kind of showed up and then just kind of stood there and
Yeah,
you
you
kill
just
guys around him.
then you shoot him until he dies, as they say.
You can't miss him though. That's the thing. He's so big that no matter where you shoot, it's gonna hit him.
Right, and like with the Barons at least, they're huge, but they're very, very mobile.
Yeah.
And he's much more mobile than I would have expected a Cyber Demon to be, but still not super mobile.
Yeah.
I thought that stupid jingle it played when you locked onto you. I was like, what the hell is this music? And I found out it was his gun.
Yeah.
I didn't
Like, I
even
mean, he doesn't shoot like
notice.
actual lock-on missiles to you. It's just to tell you that he's like gonna fire rockets in your direction.
Yeah.
And that's probably his biggest issue, is that his weapons all take so long to fire at you that by the time he was ready to fire them, I'd already left, or I just hit the chainsaw button and killed an imp to make myself invincible. Which is my favorite way to cheese out an enemy's attack.
hmm
Yeah. It's only a problem if they're like able to surround you when you do that. Like same with the glory kill, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then you kind of mentioned them a bit ago, Greg, but the Marauders.
Yeah, everybody's favorite enemy.
Yep.
Set the internet
I'll
on
say what
fire.
though, the first boss fight with him was so cool though. I was like, I'm gonna be telling my grandkids about that. Like, it's just
I
like
think
a
he's a
one-on-one
really cool enemy.
duel. Yeah, like he's a cool enemy. I don't think even throughout the entirety of the game I ever beat one on my first try though. I'd usually get them on the second, but
By
they were
the
fine.
end, I was getting him on my first try, but I was on Hurt Me Plenty, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was able to like get them without dying by like Necroval or whenever
Yeah, about
pretty
then.
easily, consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
issue
now
I
I'm
had
to the
with them
point where
was
they're
they,
like
st-
almost fun to fight at this point.
yeah. A big part of that though would be where you're fighting them though. Like when you're in an arena and you have a bunch of monkey bars you can use, that's a lot better than when it's a gore nest and you're in a hallway.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I skipped that gore nest. I was just like, no, 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 thank you, game.
Yeah, that one
But
took me that one took me a shit ton of tries just because I didn't have any like zombies to like get ammo from. I would just kill the mecha zombies in the start of that gore nest at the beginning because I didn't want to deal with them later.
the issue I had with them, which is a weird issue, is after you shot them a few times, they would like stop bleeding, and I couldn't tell if I was landing hits on them or not.
They stagger.
They
Like if
stagger.
you're using a heavy enough weapon.
But you can usually hit them twice when their eyes flash green.
Yeah,
But
up to
usually
3.
I wouldn't like I wouldn't be able to tell later on if I was hitting them on the second try or not.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things I think it's going to take me a little more practice before I really start to master it.
Yeah, for me, the one like I don't want to say broken thing about them is that so like when they call out the dog if you're like shooting at their shield too much. But
Hmm.
apparently other enemies can get them to like send out the dog too. Like the mecha zombies with their like really sporadic like arm cannon fire, they can like make them send one out. Just kind of annoying. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't seem as much as like it's supposed to like punish you at that point. It's just to be annoying. Because
Right.
I think that
I
what
I don't know. I've gotten to the point where I enjoy fighting them mostly,
yeah.
but I still think they spike the difficulty more than they should for being a single enemy. Like, I don't think there's another enemy that's comparable in how much they spike the difficulty. Maybe the Archvile, except you can BFG him or Crucible him because you've got those by the time he shows up, and neither of those are really effective against the Marauder. Um, the dog thing bothers me, but it's okay. The amount of health he has feels like too much to me, but also it's okay.
The game usually would put them if they're in an arena, they would usually either be like at the beginning of the arena or at the end. So like at least at that point you could focus on them. It wasn't ever like you had to fight two at the same time. I kept expecting there to be a fight where it was going to be a Doom Hunter, a Marauder, and a Tyrant all in the same room, but it never happened.
Yeah, play some Repertorium now. Good luck.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. There are apparently instances where you can have more than one in an arena if an archvile spawns one in. And
I
like
never, I never got to see an Archvile spawn
yeah.
one in. I kept hearing that during the Icon of Sin boss fight, the Archviles keep spawning them in, but I didn't fight any Archviles during the Icon of Sin fight.
I didn't see any Archviles during the
No.
icon.
Yeah,
Maybe they meant during the like one of the fights leading up to that.
probably.
I think he
Yeah.
did spawn a Marauder in for me during one of those fights.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I always killed Archviles as fast as possible, so
I wish those guys laughed like they did in the classic one. They were just like too quiet. I was just expecting them to be like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they
this
were
is gonna
really
be a weird
quiet.
complaint. Yeah, this
They're
is gonna be a weird complaint, but the fact that they buffed everybody else, well, I think that's an awesome mechanic. Always like I never got to have a one-on-one Archvile fight, which I love those in the classic Doom when it's just the two of you facing off against each other. Um, if anything, the BS annoying enemy role was filled by the Marauder, and you never really get that from the Archvile.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. He was definitely annoying the first time you had to fight him, but it didn't ever feel unfair.
The Archviles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much just like DPS'd it as soon as I saw it. It's like a chain gun.
Yeah.
I started BFGing all of them after one of them spawned like 4 pain elementals on me at once. And I was just like, okay, we're done here.
That's messed up.
Yeah, it was. He spawned like 4 pain elementals, and then they were spawning less souls. And so I had to switch to the BFG anyway. And I was like, you're done. Goodbye.
All right. I know this is a little off topic, but if we had to pick the worst enemy, it's going to be the Lost Souls, right?
Why? They're
Just because
barely
they
in
were
the game.
broken. They were barely in the game and they didn't work. I was like, I think
Yeah.
I'm a minority on this, but I really liked the Lost Souls in Doom 2016. And the fact that they're just like a broken, buggy mess in this was
I didn't think they
upsetting
were
to me.
any more broken or buggy than they were in 16.
They were
Mm,
barely in 16 too.
Yeah, I
yeah.
appreciated that.
It's like I only remember one instance of them like being around. Like same in Eternal. Like there's like only a handful of times where they actually spawn onto the map.
Yeah.
And one of
I
them's an optional fight.
I think they show up more in 16, having just beaten it for the first time.
Okay.
Um, I think and if they don't, it's because they show up a lot later in the campaign than they do in this one, and so I think they show up more frequently, maybe not more times, once they're introduced. But I don't know. I think they're stupid. They're not. They weren't even animated in 16, and I don't think they are in this one either. They just bob around.
They kind of open their mouths and like shake their head back and forth, like, and then they get stuck in the floor in a pile of rubble.
I
Yeah.
found, yeah, I found quite a few of them just stuck spinning around in a circle.
They're trying to dance.
No, I don't know. Worst enemy is a tough question for me because I mean we talked about this a little bit before the podcast. Like, man, I hate those cyber mancubus, and I hate those prowlers, and I hate those gargoyles, and they're all for different reasons. They're all on the different levels.
Yeah.
Like the gargoyle might be my least favorite just because he doesn't add anything except frustration.
Yeah.
Stupid vomit.
The one thing I want to know about the prowlers and what else? I guess I'll say start with prowlers is why the hell they take 3 chainsaw chips or like
Yeah,
things like as opposed to like 2 because they're only like maybe like a step up from the imps because that's what they're supposed to be. But like why 3? I mean, I guess it's because they're in the heavy category.
I feel like they're more than a step up from an imp, but that they shouldn't be. Like,
Mm.
they can tank a direct super shotgun blast sometimes, depending on the RNG. Um,
There's RNG.
there's some RNG. It's a video game.
Okay, it's not just me then.
Oh,
I
you
don't
mean
know.
on
The
the
Prowlers
damage?
really pissed me off, but what
Yeah.
made me happy was they had some really brutal glory kills.
Yeah, the first time I ripped one of their skulls out, I was just like, yes, you
Thank you.
deserved that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm trying to think of another enemy that I'd put in that category because there are not too many I can think of off the top of my head that only required 2. I remember there being some that I thought would require 2, and then I tried to use the chainsaw on them because I needed ammo and because I wanted to kill them because they were pissing me off. And be like, "Oh, you got insufficient fuel," and then I'd take 2 or 3 hits from them.
I think it's exclusively 1 and 3. I don't know that there were any 2
Really?
enemies.
What I hated
Oh,
was that if you hit the chainsaw button and it wasn't locked onto anyone, it played a little animation of the gun going down and him swinging the chainsaw and missing everything.
oh yeah,
Why,
that
why
pissed
is
me
why
off.
is yeah, why is that there? Just have a little button that says no target. That's what it was in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, like I was just saying, like if you didn't have enough fuel, you'd still bring it up and like kind of crank it. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was kind of surprised that the Crucible didn't work the same way as the Chainsaw did, where you just press the button and leap into that attack. Having it be like something you have to switch to and then attack with surprised me.
It wouldn't mind me if it had more than 3 you could get, and that the ammo was incredibly rare. But
Yeah, the Crucible pretty much exists for the Icon of Sin fight and for Archviles before that.
yeah.
But
So I think do we want to start ranking them now? Might as well.
yeah, might as well. That's everything.
So where does this one stand in the Tower of Doom games?
So it's fresh for me. I started it a week ago and finished it yesterday. Um, so it's kind of hard to compare. I like it better in 16. Uh, obviously, like it better than 3. I like it better than TNT Revolution or Evolution. Um, as far as the classics go, that's a hard comparison but it's up there. It might be like Doom 2. Depending on how this one ages, it'll be my number 2 spot. And if not, it'll be number 3. So it'd be like Doom 2, Classic Doom, Eternal, or Doom 2, Eternal, Classic Doom. I really liked it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would rank it too. I enjoyed it a lot more than 2016. Granted, I think I've put more time into this than I put into 2016, which I don't know. But yeah, like it's not going to beat out Classic Doom for me because I just like how the original games play a lot more. Now it's just more like straightforward, I guess. Which I mean, like having to play a lot smarter in Doom Eternal is not a bad thing. I think it works well with what they give you, but I don't know. It's just not a game that you can like throw on and like relax with. It's made to piss you off a bit.
Yeah, and see, that's where I have a hard time with the ranking of it. I mean, obviously, I don't like it as much as the classic games because those are masterpieces in their own right. But I mean, it's before I could really do this, I need to play through 2016 again because it's been a long time. But I don't know. I think I had more fun playing Eternal, playing through it than I did with 2016. But I also think Doom Eternal kind of pissed me off more than 2016. So I'm still kind of on the fence on which one I liked more. I mean, this one was definitely, again, like you said, it was a lot harder of a game. It was a lot more of a thinking man's game. But I don't know, 2016 had good boss fights and stuff. It just flowed better. I probably liked Doom Eternal more, but I don't know if I'm super set on that.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say though, like Doom Eternal, if they like continue with this play style, it pretty much like killed one-on-one boss fights from 2016 because you have to rely on like fodder for ammo.
Yeah,
because you don't have as much as you could have in 2016, and then you got all these extra movement options too. So like, I mean, like I would like to go back and play through 2016 again. It's just going to be really freaking weird.
yeah.
The amount
And
of
the
stuff
thing
they
was
added.
with 2016, I sat down and played it, and I said, "Wow, I'm playing one of the classic Doom games, but new." And with Doom Eternal, I felt like I was playing a whole new game at times. So I'm not sure. I think it'll just come down to how well they both age.
Yeah.
When they do make a sequel, I hope that it is different than Doom Eternal. Which
Yeah, the
yeah,
aging thing's going to be huge for me. Because what makes Doom 2 my favorite Doom game isn't Doom 2 itself necessarily, but it's all the expansions and everything that is inherent with it. You know? Like, classic Doom's got better level design for the most part, but Doom 2 has better enemies. And so
Yeah.
because of that, there's so many different expansions with great level design and great enemies. And classic Doom is limited in that regard because of the enemy types, but it's a lot of fun to just throw in and play whenever, like Connor said. I think Doom Eternal has the potential to surpass that just from a fun to play level, because Doom 1, you've got the first episode, which has the best level design but the most limited roster, and then the second 2 episodes have questionable level design at times, but a better roster. But still not that great because it's just cacodemons and barons at that point. Oh, so Eternal has the potential to age better depending on how they expand it and stuff.
Yeah.
Because right now I've played through it. I plan on playing through it 1 or 2 more times, but like that would be the end of it because there's no room for mods or expansion or anything at this point.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's one of the things I'm wondering about too. It's like without any of the DLC being out yet, it's like there's not really much left for me to do other than I think Ultra Nightmare Run, which I am far away from being able to pull off. You can do there's like one called You Can't Perfect Perfection, where you only use one crystal upgrade and one suit perk to beat the game.
Oh no.
Then
Oh
there's
no.
yeah, I already started that. I'm doing it on Hurt Me Plenty. I got no shame. But and then there's a extra lives mode. You can unlock the Phobos skin if you finish that with 10 extra
Oh,
lives.
so the Phobos skin is in the game?
Yeah, you just have to
Yeah.
you have to beat extra lives mode with 10 extra lives.
Does it make
Yeah.
you black, or are you just some white guy who stole a black dude's outfit? Because that's not cool.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know if anyone's beaten it yet.
Yeah.
Like most people have been focusing on Ultra Nightmare.
You just have to beat it on any difficulty with 10 lives left over?
No, there's a specific mode called extra lives mode where it's kind of like Ultra Nightmare. If you die like without having any extra lives, you're done. You have
Oh,
to start over.
but it only gives you 10.
No, you have to like collect them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's brutal.
You might
Yeah.
start with a couple, but I don't know. But you can do it with any difficulty setting.
Okay.
So it's like a separate mode, kinda. But you have to start a new game to do it.
Oh, I could probably do that on freaking easy mode, baby mode.
Yeah. You just have to start from the beginning,
Yeah.
get through.
Have you done any of the cheat code runs?
Like I've
That's
replayed
called-
levels with cheat codes.
That's called one-up farming to the death. Like
Yeah.
my younger brother Steven played through a couple levels with infinite BFGs, and he had like 35 extra lives when he went back to the campaign.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I will admit I had a lot of fun replaying previous levels with cheats on. Like when you don't have to worry about ammo, you can just like focus on like having the most absurd like way of going about each fight. It's great. It's like I was swinging around with the meat hook a lot, using the ballista for an entire level.
I haven't tried any of the cheat codes yet, but what I am interested in for replaying the game is the master levels. I ain't have the pre-order or whatever, so I just have the Art Complex master level, but it was a blast. They throw so many tyrants and like just heavies all throughout the level. The very like start of it, when you're only killing zombies in the regular level, you're fighting revenants and hell knights, and it was just awesome. Because it threw a lot at you, but it never felt like it was oppressive like some of the later levels try to be, and so it was just a blast.
Yeah, I still have yet to try either of those. I got the pre-order one, the cultist based, I think. Yeah,
I think so, yeah, the snowy one.
yeah. So yeah, I haven't tried either of those yet. Probably will soon. They sound really fun.
Yeah, I recommend it.
Yeah.
I would look forward to beating Doom 1 and 2 on the Doom guy's old IBM computer.
Oh yeah.
I do have a save game on there.
Have you guys looked at his bookshelf?
I have.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of fun titles on there.
Yeah, a lot of them are Easter eggs or like references to other things.
There's
just so
like
you know.
Caco Demon Cooking by Flesh Consumed or something like that.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite was like Retconned, the story of Flynn Taggart. For all of you who don't know, Flynn Taggart was the name of the Doom guy in the Doom novels. And back when those were popular, a lot of people like decided that was the canon name for the Doom guy. And then it got retconned through the Doom RPGs that he's actually like the grandson of BJ Blazkowicz from the Wolfenstein games. And now it's kind of up in the air because the Doom Slayer's the Doom guy, and it's like, well, who is he? And they could change the answer at any point.
I was expecting one of the Earth levels to take place in Salt Lake City because of those books, but
Oh,
honestly, I'm glad it didn't, because those books are dumb and I don't want anything to be referenced by them.
the Revenants are skeletons in white t-shirts and red shorts.
You gotta take a trip to Fred World, and I'm expecting that's where the DLC is gonna take place. Fred World. What
Seriously,
a dumb.
if you're unfamiliar with those books, look them up. They're terrible. The first one was like true enough to the game, and then the second one is just all over the place, and they go downhill from there.
A more productive use of your time would be taking one of the pages and using it to snort a line of coke.
Probably less trippy too. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Coke doesn't make you trip.
Yeah.
Oh, what I do want to read, there's like these Hungarian bootleg Doom novels. Like some Hungarian dude just wrote books about Doom, but I don't read Hungarian, and I've got slightly better things to do with my life than learn Hungarian, so I can read a bootleg Doom novel.
Dang. So we've gone way off topic, but
hmm
I'm good at that. Ask my
Well,
teachers.
We're currently at over an hour, so
Oh, wow.
I think we
Yeah.
should call this about quits. But in all, I think we all give Doom Eternal a 5 out of 5. You should play it. Like, I legitimately think you should play it.
yeah. One thing to say though, it does have a bit of a learning curve to it. Like it'll be
Yeah.
very frustrating at the beginning, but just persevere. It's all doable.
By the end of Doom Hunter Base, things start to click. But
Yeah.
there's like 3 levels before that make you hate everything.
Yep.
So,
But hey, everybody wants a game that's rewarding, and this game feels rewarding after you finally kill those cyber mancubus. Whew. Sorry, what were we talking about? I just had like a weird flashback.
I think you're saying goodbye.
That's
Yeah.
right. Goodbye. If you're
Well,
a
I'd
cyber
like to-
mancubus, unsubscribe from this channel.
I'd like to thank you guys for letting me on the show. As you know, I'm a big fan. Always manage to leave a comment on your videos.
Yeah.
I'll be sure to leave this one an 11 out of 10 because